Welcome, folks, to Crypto News Global. I'm your host, Nick Toka, and we have a big show for you today. We have a Trump who spoke at the Digital Asset Summit today. I'm going to have some of the video for you. Bitfinex Bitcoin longs hit 6-month high. Will the Bitcoin price follow? Of course it will. Also, Bitcoin, Doge in the clear after SEC says crypto mining doesn't violate securities law. Additionally, Bitcoin probably hit its bottom at 77,000, says Arthur Hayes. All this and so much more, including a whole bunch of technical analysis and some good ones to buy right now on today's show. Welcome, folks, to Crypto News Global. I'm your host, Nick Toka. Today is March 20th, and happy spring of 2025 to everybody in the Northern Hemisphere like me. Things are starting to look very nice outside. Everything's melting. Geese are flying. Ducks are making noise. I wake up to the birds every day. Things are good. Even my tulips are starting to pop out of the ground, I noticed. So good times, everybody. And today, a big day, folks, in the crypto world because President Trump spoke at the Digital Asset Summit. We're going to get into some technical analysis, but first, I think we should listen to this video. I've got it queued up. This is brought to us by PBS. I have the link in my video description, and let's roll it because she's a good one. Here we go.
An honor to speak with you about how the United States is going to dominate crypto and the next generation of financial technologies, and it's not going to be easy, but we're way ahead. Just 2 weeks ago, we hosted the first ever White House Digital Asset Summit, bringing together many of the world's top leaders in crypto for a conversation led by our White House AI and crypto czar, David Sachs, who's a fantastic and very brilliant guy. That same week, I signed an order creating the brand new strategic Bitcoin reserve and the U.S. digital asset stockpile, which will allow the federal government to maximize the value of its holdings instead of foolishly selling them for a fraction of their long-term value, which is
Boom! Right there. Come on, guys. You know, they're holding the biddy. This is what should have been pumping the markets 2 weeks ago. But things have kind of held in a reserve kind of way. See what I did there? But I think the best is yet to come, both in the crypto market and in this video. Let's keep rolling.
Exactly what Biden did. He got a fraction of their value. We're ending the last administration's regulatory war on crypto and Bitcoin, and that includes stopping the lawless Operation Choke Point 2.0. Operation Choke Point went beyond regulation, and I mean far beyond. It was a form of lawfare through government weaponization. Frankly, it was a disgrace. But as of January 20th, 2025, all of that is over. I've also called on Congress to pass landmark legislation creating simple, common sense rules for stablecoins and market structure. With the right legal framework, institutions large and small will be liberated to invest, innovate, and take part in one of the most exciting technological revolutions in modern history.
Absolutely. We talked just yesterday how the crypto market is growing twice as fast as the internet's been growing. So he's doing the right thing. He's taking advantage of this. And take a look at those cufflinks, boys. I'm sure these are diamonds in here. He's looking good. He's speaking well. Let's keep going.
It's so big. It's, I think, as big as you can get. Pioneers like you will be able to improve our banking and payment system and promote greater privacy, safety, security, and wealth for American consumers and businesses alike. You will unleash an explosion of economic growth, and with the dollar-backed stablecoins, you'll help expand the dominance of the U.S. dollar, and many, many years to come, it'll be at the top, and that's where we want to keep it. We only want to keep it at the top.
So he's expressing the stablecoin. So what he hasn't said out loud, but I do fully expect that he's going to create a stable coin. He might be using, Tether. I'm not quite sure. He might be using USDC. He might create his own stable coin. However, I feel like they're going to create a stable coin, which then they can use for digital transactions around the world. All of a sudden, for 50 years now, you buy 1 million tomatoes from Italy and you get them shipped and you get paid. Well, your payment shows up 2 weeks later in the slow banking system. Now, and he hasn't explicitly said this, but I'm sure this is where they're going with it. Because of the blockchain technology, they'll be able to send in US dollars or Tether or a stable coin backed by the US dollar a payment immediately. Within seconds, the other party is going to get their money, and international trade suddenly goes from a 1 to 2 week venture to get paid to a 30-second venture to get paid.
Always. I can already see that the energy and passion of the crypto community is the kind of spirit that built our country, and it is exciting to watch as you invent the future of finance. And right here, it's going to be right here in the USA, the good old USA. Together we will make America the undisputed Bitcoin superpower and the crypto capital of the world. Thank you. Good luck. God bless America.
Please welcome to the stage Ben Strack and Stacy Warden.
All right. We don't care as much about these guys. Blockworks and Algorand founders. Also big names, but we're going to shut it off there. We really cared mostly about what the U.S. president was going to talk about, and we heard the whole video there. It wasn't live. He didn't actually show up there. It was a broadcast message that he sent. Kind of the same way that Kamala Harris sent a message to the Catholic dinner they had, where traditionally, about 6 months ago, where every candidate for president and every sitting president is always gone. But no, she just sent a video. So he just sent a video. Cool. Good enough. We heard him speak. It was pre-recorded. Fair enough. I'm sure he's busy. Let's get right into our technical analysis. We're going to do a little additional analysis today. We're going to go through some of the coins we might be looking at buying right now, because we had a bit of a pump a couple days ago, but things came back a little bit. So we'll look at some charts and give some structured opinion as to why it's still a good time to buy the dip. And first, before we go into the biddy price, let's just look at this isn't really loading very well. It is not. The ISM model, basically, the manufacturing. Things are definitely going to be picking up here. This is only showing me the 3-year. I'd like to go to the multiple year model, because these numbers here are way down historically. Let's go into the M2 money supply, which does seem to work, and we can see here that in 2020 there was a big peak in money printing, and the prediction is there's going to be another big peak in money printing. The correlation here is the more money that's printed, the less that money is worth. If they double the money supply, for example, then that should double the price of Bitcoin, because the price of Bitcoin is based on its scarcity. So if this becomes less scarce, then the Bitcoin becomes more scarce, right? The money's worth less. If you could buy a Bitcoin right now for $100 and you print twice as much money, and now the Bitcoin costs $200, well, it's the same amount of money. All you did was print, double the money, so it's effectively the same cost. So, this is one of the basic things that also cause inflation. Everybody talks inflation. Oh, rates are high. Oh, it's Trump tariffs. It's the money printing, guys. So, those do affect things a little bit too, but this is the main thing. We've talked about this before. The U.S. is going to have to service its debt this year. They have a big payment due. And if the interest rates stay high and they refinance this debt at a high interest rate, then they're pretty much fucked. So they need the interest rates to come down. When the interest rates come down, that is a good thing for Bitcoin. They need to pay off some of this debt. What are they going to do? They're going to print more money to pay off this debt, right? The stuff they're not refinancing, they're going to print money to pay. They have big plans. They need to raise the debt ceiling in the States so they can then have a bigger budget. I've heard as high as $6 trillion. What are they going to do? Where are they going to get the $6 trillion? They're going to print more money. In Europe, they need to also print more money. There's big issues over there with debt. In China, they're ready to basically go bankrupt because of the big collapse in real estate. The interest rate in China right now is at 1%. They can't go any lower. What are they going to do? They're going to print more money. This M2 money supply is going to fly through the roof this year. In another 6 months, in another 3 months, they're going to have to turn on the money printers. This is very bullish for Bitcoin. Let's get into some market analysis for the Bitty, and we've got the price of Bitty down a little bit today, $84,500. Ethereum down 2% at $19.93. Solana down 3.5% at $128. Cardano down 1%, 72 cents. XRP down 1.5%, $2.45. Doge down 3%, $2.17. Crypto Bubble shows us that we're at about a 50-50 mix today in terms of things that are up and things that are down. We've got Pepe and Kava leading the way, 6% and 10% respectively. We have for the week almost everything is in the green on the crypto sphere. Again, Kava, Ton, Pancake Swap up 50%. For the month, we're coming back a little bit, but it's still 95% in the red for the month. Getting into the actual market cap, we've got Bitcoin at $1.679 trillion, Ethereum $240 billion, XRP $142 billion, Solana $66 billion, Cardano $25 billion, Doge $25 billion, and Tron $22 billion. The current full market cap for the entire market, crypto market's $2.73 trillion, with Bitcoin holding 61.5% of that. Ethereum 8.8%, XRP 5.2%. We're currently sitting in a 31 in fear in our crypto fear and greed index. Yesterday it was a 49 in neutral, and last week was a 27 in fear. So when we're in this fear scenario, right, this is the buy the dip opportunity. When this gets up into the greed, normally we're going to see a bit of a pullback. When it's in the fear area, we're going to typically see the price pumping into the bullish zone. And we're going to go in a few minutes over some coins that I've kind of selected where I feel like they've got a big upside, and I'll show you the charts and show you that it's still a very, very good time to buy these things. There are currently 1,120 days left until the next Bitcoin halving in 2028, with 161,306 blocks left to mine until that time. the top assets by market cap, we've got gold at 20 trillion, 500 billion, up again. It's almost $500 billion in about a week. It's gone up. Everybody's shitting their pants and putting their money into stable things. So at some point soon, we're going to start seeing the Bitcoin follow the gold pattern, where people are going to start. It's already been happening. I don't know why the price hasn't jumped up like crazy the same way that the gold has, and silver as well. Apple, number 2, $3.2 trillion. Nvidia, $2.9 trillion. Microsoft, $2.9 trillion. Amazon, $2 trillion. Google, $1.996 trillion. Silver, $1.9 trillion. Bitcoin, number 8, $1.674 trillion. Saudi Aramco, $1.65 trillion. Facebook, number 10, $1.484 trillion. And you can currently get 1,181 Satoshis for one fiat US dollar. And speaking of the US dollar, the current US debt sits at $36,602 billion as we speak. It's going to flip. That equals to 107,116 per US citizen and 323,048 per U.S. taxpayer. So 36,622 billion and counting. And if we just refresh our chart here for the full money supply history, we'll see, this is the U.S. debt history. We can see that in 1966, they only owed $321,000 in U.S. debt. And now we're up to, as we see, 36.5 trillion, not billy, 36.5 trillion. And from 2020, when basically this is the term where Biden and the Dems took over, we shall see that, look at that jump right there, right? And since then, the printing's going up and up and up and up and up. They printed all this money here to give to everybody sitting at home, saying, here's your gift to sit at home. And then, of course, they asked for it back. And the money's been effectively going up ever since. And I don't foresee that it's ever going to stop going, because they need to keep that money printer going to keep the economy going, as we talked about a moment ago. So let's flip into some charts so we can get a fair idea of, some good things we might want to look at. So this is your all-time chart from, from 2018, pardon me. We can go all, but then it's well, that's all she's got right now. Anyway, I'd like to go to a custom chart. We're going to call it 2 years. So we'll go from 2023 until now, 301 March, and let's go. And here is our chart. Let's zoom in a bit because it didn't actually do what we wanted. Fair enough. What we really want to see here is, let's go with a bit of a more condensed view. All right, good enough. Here's 2023. There's the biddy in the candles. And what I've got highlighted is the XRP right now. So if we zoom in a bit, we shall see that in about a year and a half, the price for XRP is actually pretty damn high, right? So let's go to our next. You see, XRP, I got in really early. I still have it here as a guideline. It still might be an okay time to get into XRP. The price is already pretty high, but they're predicting the price to go over $10, and some people are saying, $10 and $100, and we'll see what happens now that the lawsuit's over. But that one, it's not a great example for what we're trying to do here. Better examples are Solana, right? So here we see Solana, and the price is basically way down in this cycle. If we do a comparison against the Biddy, there we go. Price is way down, and the price is similar to the lows that we saw a little while ago and also the lows here. So it's almost inevitable that the price is going to rise from here. We've got the ISM manufacturing. Once that picks up, once the M2 money supply picks up, these things traditionally have followed those two factors, statistics, hand in hand. When those two go up, trailing behind a month or two, and really potentially up to 3 months, is the Bitcoin. So these are historically decent prices. You're getting in on the low. Like if we're going up to here, from here, you were talking about 150%, guys. So I mean, who's not happy with 150%? Let's go into our next coin we're going to look at, and that would be Algorand. Also similar kind of thing. Look at the historical highs on Algorand, right? It was way up at one point in around 2020. This was the previous halving high, right? Like way up here, and we're at prices that are consistent with the pre-halving prices from 2019, right? So again, a very, very good buy. From here to here, you're talking 50, almost 100%, and from this point to this point, you're talking 600%. It's a pretty good return, 600%. Let's go into the next one, Doge. And Doge has a very interesting chart if we zoom in. I mean, let's just look at this here, and price way down, going up to here. This is a 400+% difference. So, and let's see what we get with the other historic high. This is really the high point here. So we're talking a big chunk, guys. Over 100% here too. Let's go into AVAX, and AVAX I like because where'd it go? It's pretty predictable. Here we almost see the line going straight across, chopping sideways. Price here, it'll go up. The price then dips to here, almost the same level. Then again, it dips to here, chopping sideways, sideways, sideways. And here we are at the next point. And if we zoom in, we get a better look at that as well. Remember, this is just a chart, but this is, we're talking from this point to this point is a year exactly. So we're pretty much at a 1 year low right now. Great time to buy the Doge. AVAX. Avalanche. Next, Toncoin. We went through this the other day as well. Here we are at the current relative low, so close to the 1 year low over here. Well, we'll call it about a 6 month low, but not that far from the bottom, right? Only a couple weeks ago. So from this point, if we get up to here again, this is a 400% difference. Huge, right? Toncoin. Injective. Massive. This is one that I like because this has a smaller supply than some of the other ones that I'm showing in these charts. So I bought the dip a couple days ago on Solana, I bought the dip on Algorand, I bought the dip on Doge, and I put cash ready to buy the dip on Injective, and I kind of said, let me hold off. It was late. I just didn't get a chance. Woke up the next day and everything was pumping. It was up 10%. I was like, not anymore. So a couple days later, price is down. It's time for me to use that cash that I've got and actually buy. So Injective. So if we were going from here even to the mid-cycle, guys, we're talking 500%. If we were going all the way to the top, look at this. 1,800%. Like insane numbers. Injective I like because it has a smaller supply. It's 100 million, which is the smallest of all the other ones that I've shown you, except for Bitcoin. Let's check out Polkadot. Polkadot's an interesting one because no matter where you look here, it's always coming down. Very easy to figure out. Always coming down to this level here. And here we are again. This level here, that is August 2023. This level again, August 2024. This level again, March 2025. Always coming down to this same area where we can buy the dip. And if we look at the historical price again, here's 2021. And this is happening because I've got this chart on 2 years. From the lows, maybe not as cool as some of the other ones, but from the low here to the high, we're talking a good 100 and about 200%. Let's go into XRP. We already checked out. So XRP, there's great possibilities for XRP too. It's still relatively cheap dollar-wise compared to the rest of these guys. Also, ton was pretty cheap. It's time to buy the dip. And if you're buying, this is not the greatest example, but if you're buying any of these others, let's go back to Injective. Let's do the full chart here. If you're buying down here and you're not comfortable buying, then you got to think harder, because the cycle peak is coming later this year for Bitcoin. Once Bitcoin, it's already completed the Head and Shoulders pattern. It's already predicted to go up from here. We've got a story later on, a very smart guy saying, the bottom's already in. So if you can get in at this point, you've done okay. And if it goes down a bit back to this here, fair enough. Buy more. Buy the dip again. If it goes down to this point, fair enough. Buy the dip again. If you are smart, what you'll do is you'll put in a stop loss. And you always should put in a stop loss. You buy it over here, you put a stop loss, 5%. If things go down, fair enough, you lose your 5%. If you're a little riskier, put a stop loss in at about 10% below the price from today. And that way, even if it gets to this point, you're still all right. If you want to be conservative, put a stop loss 3%, right? Price goes down. Oh, okay, you've got your stop loss. Then you can wait it out more. Fair enough. If it goes down another 20%, even better for you, right? Then you can buy even lower. So much opportunity out there. It's time to buy and not time to be afraid. This is a very good time to be buying the dip. We've got Bitfinex Bitcoin longs hit a 6-month high, and the question is, will the Bitcoin price follow? And the answer is, of course, it's going to follow. Bullish Bitcoin positions using leverage on the Bitfinex exchange surged to their highest level in nearly 6 months, reaching 80,000 Bitcoin on March 20th, equivalent to $7 billion. The 27% increase in Bitcoin margin long since February 20 has fueled speculation that the 12.5% Bitcoin price gain from the 76,000 low on March 11th is driven by leverage and may not be sustainable. However, Bitcoin price does not always move in tandem with bullish leverage positions on Bitfinex. For example, in 3 weeks ending July 12, 2024, large investors added 13,000 Bitcoin in margin longs, yet Bitcoin's price fell from 65,000 to 58,000. Similarly, a 2-week long increase of 9,000 Bitcoin in margin longs took place leading into September 11, 2024, and this coincided with a price decline from 60,000. Bitcoin margin traders are highly profitable but also risk tolerant. In the long term, I'm not suggesting anybody should be going on leverage, by the way, unless you really have a high risk tolerance. You could lose your shirt. Just invest what you can invest, what you can afford to lose. You shouldn't be losing it technically. A couple percent here, a couple percent there. Price is going to chop sideways for a bit. You got to have, big balls, and when things go down, buy the dip again, right? Going in with these leverage positions, which basically means if you put in $100, you can get a leverage position of even 10 times or even more. So your $100, and they'll loan you the 10 times position. So your $100 turns into $1,000. But conversely, you can lose that money very, very quickly, and you owe the money that you lose. It's not like, I'm excused and I only owe $100. No, you will owe the $1,000 if you lose your position at a 10x, which can happen really freaking fast. So, I'd recommend spot trading. If you want to do a little leverage, 3x or something like this. These are long positions, I'd suggest, not leveraged positions. You can do this, but generally, isn't what we just saw 100%, 300%, 1800%, this isn't enough? Right? Think of it that way. Essentially, these traders are highly profitable but exhibit much higher risk tolerance and patience than the average investor. Therefore, an increase in leverage demand does not necessarily translate into upward pressure on the Bitcoin price. Additionally, the cost of borrowing Bitcoin remains relatively low, creating opportunities for market-neutral arbitrage as traders capitalize on cheap interest rates. Currently, borrowing BTC for 60 days on Bitfinex carries an annualized cost of 3.14%, while the funding rate for Bitcoin perpetual future stands at 4.5%. In theory, traders can exploit this spread through cash and carry arbitrage, profiting without direct exposure to price fluctuations. So they could technically borrow the difference, which looks to be about 1.35%, and as long as they're not losing this, they stay within this 1.35%, they're always going to make money. Fair enough. I don't know about this. Sure, Bitfinex Bitcoin longs hit 6-month high, and the story is all negative. Typically, if these long positions go in, it doesn't necessarily mean everybody's on leverage. It really means that they think that the price of Bitcoin is going to go up, and most of the time they're betting that it does. And generally, they're not throwing their money away. If the smart whales think that the price is going to go up, it usually does go up. Good news again today, because Bitcoin, Doge are now in the clear after SEC says that crypto mining doesn't violate security laws. The SEC said Thursday that proof of work crypto mining, as seen with Bitcoin and Doge, does not fall under its definition of securities. U.S. Securities Exchange Commission said Thursday that proof-of-work mining, which underpins Bitcoin and some other blockchain networks, does not violate U.S. securities laws. So, boom, you can mine. In its latest guidance to clarify rules for the fast-moving industry, the regulator said that mining operations do not need to register their actions as they do not involve the offer and sale of securities. Securing crypto networks has been a controversial issue in the past, with SEC under the previous administration declaring the proof-of-stake blockchains like Ethereum and Solana, where crypto holders passively earn returns by pledging coins or tokens to a network, could satisfy the Howey test. Under U.S. law, an asset passes the Howey test and meets the definition of a security if an investment of money in a common enterprise from which there is an expectation of profit based on that enterprise's effort. But major cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, Doge, and Litecoin all run on proof-of-work blockchains. For such a blockchain to function, computers around the world race to solve mathematical problems in order to process blocks on the network and process transactions. And basically that's how they get paid, is they are proving through algorithms and complicated mathematical complications that your computer does, that the work is done. Once the work is done, you are the owner of whatever it is. You buy a pizza with your Bitcoin, well, it needs to get validated. So that's what this proof of work is. Once it's validated, it then puts this proof of work on the blockchain. So it's a permanent record, and they get paid by doing these calculations. Proof of work requires miners, which are typically large industrial operations, especially with Bitcoin, the biggest and oldest cryptocurrency, but some people try to mine the asset alone, with Doge and some other less valuable cryptocurrencies proving easier to mine than Bitcoin. As proof-of-work miners are rewarded with digital coins, the SEC said it wanted to clear up whether or not this would constitute dealing with securities. According to the regulator, as a miner's expectation to receive rewards is not derived from a third party's managerial or entrepreneurial effort upon which the network's success depends, it does not come under the SEC's jurisdiction. By adding its computational resources to the network, the miner merely is engaging in an administrative or ministerial activity to secure the network, validate transactions, and add new blocks and receive rewards for their work, said the SEC. The regulator did not mention any specific coins or networks by name, but Bitcoin and Doge are the two largest proof-of-work coins by total market cap, with both sitting in the top 10 coins by that metric. Ethereum originally ran on a proof-of-work network, but transitioned to a proof-of-stake model in 2022. So, cool enough. So you can mine, and she's not illegal is basically what they said, because you're mining to make the network better and you're just providing administrative work. So very cool. What's also cool is Bitcoin has probably hit the bottom at 77,000, says our friend Arthur Hayes. According to a recent post by the crypto entrepreneur Arthur Hayes, Bitcoin probably hit its bottom during the plunge to 77,000 on March 10th. However, Hayes cautioned that while BTC may have bottomed, stock markets could face more pain ahead. Former BitMEX CEO Arthur Hayes recently took to X to declare that BTC may have likely bottomed at 77,000. The acclaimed crypto market commentator referred to the U.S. Federal Reserve's latest remarks, signaling the end of quantitative tightening. Hayes remarked, Jay Powell delivered QT basically over April 1st. The next thing we need to get bulled up for the reals is either SLR exemption or a restart of quantitative easing. Was BTC 77,000 the bottom? Probably, but stonks prob have more pain left to fully convert. J to Team Trump. So stay nimble and stay cashed up. Yeah, some slang being used in there, boy. For the uninitiated, QT is one of the Fed's monetary policies aimed at reducing the money supply by selling off assets like government bonds or letting them mature without reinvesting. While this helps control inflation, it can also lead to a higher interest rate and slower economic growth. The Fed began its most recent quantitative tightening cycle nearly 3 years ago in June 2022 to combat high inflation resulting from COVID-era economic stimulus. Now that inflation appears to be easing, the Fed has a little reason to continue quantitative tightening. Yesterday, the Fed announced that from April 1st onward, it will slow the pace of its balance sheet drawdown. Such a shift in monetary policy is likely to benefit risk-on assets like BTC and stocks. As stated in his X post, Hayes emphasized that the next potential bullish catalyst could be either a supplementary leverage ratio, SLR exemption, or the start of quantitative easing. To explain, the SLR exemption temporarily allows banks to exclude certain assets like U.S. Treasuries and central bank reserves from their leverage calculations to encourage lending and support financial markets during crisis. Similarly, quantitative easing is a monetary policy through which the Fed increases the money supply in the economy, potentially benefiting high-risk assets like Bitcoin. Axie Infinity co-founder Jeff Gerlin echoed Hayes' sentiment, stating that an end to QT from April onward would be great for both crypto and equity markets. Gerling added that the current monetary policy is the tightest he has observed since 2010. So is Bitcoin out of the woods yet? While optimism has increased following the Fed's recent comments, the premier cryptocurrency is not fully out of the woods yet. For instance, BTC recently broke down through a 12-year trend line against gold, raising fears of heightened economic uncertainty in the near term. Further, Crypto Quant CEO Qi Wangju recently spooked the market by declaring that the Bitcoin bull run is likely over. At press time, BTC trades for 85,000, up 2% in the last 24 hours. Yeah, so to me, I see the head and shoulders pattern. We've gone over this many times, and we're now out of the head and shoulders, and we ideally are going to be heading up and to the right. So it, I feel, is definitely a good time to buy the dip. Good time for risk-on assets because of quantitative easing that they said they're going to start as of April 1st. So good news all around. You know, we've got the U.S. Treasury Reserve. There's so many bullish tenets right now that I don't see Bitcoin retesting that $76,500 level. There's so much money in the world. There's over $900 trillion worldwide in assets. So remember, guys, money is abundant. Money is everywhere. It's time that's scarce. So spend your time wisely. Spend less money than when you earn. So that way you're always in the green. Save more money. Don't spend more money. If you start making more money suddenly for whatever reason, start saving more money. Don't start spending more money. Start saving early. Start investing early in your teens and your 20s, and ideally you retire when you're 40 or 45. And folks, remember that here on Crypto News Global, you're not only watching Crypto News Global, you are Crypto News Global. I'm on a path to have 500 to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I would love it if you join me on this ride. So if you found this stream enjoyable, please share, like, comment, and subscribe it. And we will see you on the next stream, folks. Thanks so much.